Hello and welcome to the live on protecting your privacy. My name is Punit Bhatia and I'll be joined by Kelly Finnerty. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Punit Bhatia and I'm the CEO of the company called Fit for Privacy. We help you with privacy advice right from strategy to implementation, including trainings for your staff. So allow me to welcome Kelly Finnerty, and we are going to have a conversation on how do you as an individual protect your privacy. So thank you to everyone of you who has joined here. And how do I bring her in? And
Hi,
hey,
Punit.
Kelly, welcome here.
Hi. Thanks so much. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday indeed. So, for those of you who do not probably know Kelly, Kelly is the director for brand and marketing at a company called StartPage, and they help in protecting your privacy. Just like we help you to protect privacy from an organization standpoint, they help you from an individual standpoint.
Mhm.
So, Kelly, when we look at privacy, or protecting individual privacy, there are three dimensions. One is we expect from the state some protection, that is, in the Western world, we talk about the GDPR or the CCPA or things like that. That is, the state gives us the tools, the state gives us the laws which allow us to protect privacy, meaning the organizations are bound by some rules and we have some rights that allow us to protect our privacy. Now, the second dimension is we expect organizations to follow those rules, be trustworthy, and keep our data safe. But then there's a third dimension, that is us as an individual. We also have a responsibility, we also have a duty, because things start with us. And that's where you have experienced or you have specialized and you guys are making an impact. So would you like to share or start with what are the some of the things that someone can do or take care of so that they protect privacy in the modern world, because we all know it's challenging. It's a digital world, and in corona world it's even more digital.
Definitely. And Punit, it's a pleasure to get to speak with you about this because you and your audience and your clients, you're always thinking about how to protect the privacy of the organizations that you work for. And that is very important. But we also really need to think about how we protect our own personal privacy because at the end of the day, the state and legislation is going to have laws that protect you, but they might be 10 steps behind. And companies are always going to be, looking out for themselves in the digital data exchange. And so you as an individual can take back some of that control and can decide who and when and how they see your digital data. So I think it's important for people to one, take a step back and think about why it's important to protect their privacy. And then, yeah, today I'd love to talk to you about just some easy steps that you can do to take back some of that control. But I guess like the first kind of area is that I think is important to talk about is, the why.
Exactly. The
Um,
why do we need to protect our privacy? That's a very good start, because most people, especially those who are not in the privacy field or those who are not touched by the privacy laws, they tend to think, why is this fuss? Why do we need to talk about this? Why do we need to do it? Why shouldn't it be obvious? So maybe let's start with that.
Yeah. And I think about the Maslow hierarchy of needs. There's kind of like the Maslow hierarchy of privacy, personal needs. And like at the lowest level, there's just the annoying part of digital surveillance, which is all of the ads or like the overly personalization of the internet. Which can be pretty annoying or really embarrassing sometimes too. So, that's like kind of just like the starting point of why you would want to care about your privacy. Then there's another level that gets more serious about identity theft. We put our lives on the internet, our social security numbers, our tax identification numbers, our birth dates. People take therapy online. There's a lot of personal information that is available online that can be taken and used in identity theft situations, whether that is opening up credit cards in your name or actually accessing your bank account and, wiping somebody clean of all of their hard-earned money. Um, and then you go further up and there's levels of stalking online that occur. And people getting a hold of passwords to accounts of yours, able to track your location. And, that level of, stalking has always existed, but to the level of information and the location that they can find you at is at a much higher, more threatening point of view. And so protecting your personal privacy for that is also very important. And then there's just kind of like that overarching surveillance part of personal security. And the reality is that digital surveillance is happening every day. Every single time you search on your search engine, if it's not private, that is being recorded. And we as a country in the United States said that we were okay with that because we felt like we were getting security by, having saying it was okay for the government to, be able to check messages, able to look at people's search history in order to protect us from terrorism. But at the end of the day, we really have forfeited our ability to access information without someone recording that we have asked that question. And in the future, that can be a really dangerous road to go down. So there are ways to and products to use where you're not being constantly tracked, constantly monitored online, which is also something that individuals can do to take back that control.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think you touch upon a very important point, linking it to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or the way humans behave, because privacy is a need which is higher up the value chain or higher up the value ladder.
Yeah.
And we need it when the other needs are fulfilled, when the other needs are taken care. And that's why it's more of sometimes feeling like a Western concept, because that's where we are talking about more and more of this. But it's relevant for everyone in the modern world, because in the modern world it's all about data. And when we talk about data, the question is who has it and what is being done with it. And that's where privacy comes into play. But since we are live, it's important to share with our audiences and help them that if you have a question about how do you want to protect your privacy, you can always ask, and Kelly and I will do our best to answer it. We will run this for anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes based on your questions. So please do ask your questions. But coming back to the point you made, it is important that in the modern world, as the value, even though in Maslow's hierarchy it's way up, but in the modern society, the digital society, since it's all about data, that data needs to be protected. And that's where our role and everyone's individual role becomes important, that we take care of what are we going to protect, how are we going to protect, and who do we share it. And there are some simple methods, simple techniques that we have. For example, when last time I was having a conversation with you, you were talking about the release of your in start page, that extension on Chrome. And you were saying, you also gave me an affiliate link, by the way, an interesting story for our audiences. Because when Kelly and me were talking, she said you can make as an affiliate some money. And I said, well, that will not make me rich. So, but that will definitely serve some people. So we said, let's share the link when we do the live. And I hope the product is live by now. And then the fact is, if you use that link and whatever we make out of it, we will give it to a charity, because we are not here to take advantage of your privacy, but rather help you protect your privacy. So talk about that little extension. What is it and how does it work for a simple person?
Yeah, definitely. And I just think that was also so generous of you too, Punit. So, yeah, so when we talk about being able to take back some of the control over who is collecting data on you, there's I have a whole list here of other products, other ways. But if you don't mind, I'd love to talk about StartPage's newest product. It is called StartPage Privacy Protection. And it's a very easy to install browser extension that automatically, once it's installed, it begins to block third party tracker trackers and cookies on the websites that you visit. So it also provides a privacy score per website. So I'm kind of going like this because what happens with the extension is that it's on the top of your toolbar, and it'll let you know every single website that you're on, a score from 1, meaning the worst privacy practices, to 5, meaning no third-party tracking. And so you'll know on the websites that you're at how private or not private the site is. So you can really be mindful of, okay, this is not a website that I should be sharing any personal information on, or this is a website that I really need to be cautious while I'm on it. And then inside the extension, you can see how many trackers and cookies are being blocked per website. Some
So is
websites
it
had,
something like
yeah.
because when I use my Apple phone and I'm using Safari, at the start when I'm not using anything, it says these many trackers blocked. So is it the equivalent of that on Chrome?
Yeah, so it's that would be a mobile application, and this start page privacy protection is desktop only for now,
Mhm.
and it's available on Chrome browser and Firefox browser.
Interesting.
So yeah, very similar, and it's like it's really fun actually too to be able to click in there and be like, oh, I did nothing other than install this extension, but I'm like I in my extension there's a privacy report that I kind of just click into every week and see how many trackers I've blocked. I've blocked at this point nearly 20,000 trackers
Wow.
and cookies. Yeah. So,
So you must be doing a lot of browsing, it seems. How many hours do you use your phone or your desktop? That's the question I must ask now.
it's too embarrassing to say. It's too embarrassing to say. I probably could use some time off the internet, but I'm on it quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
but I
And
um
yeah,
but
go
I do it
ahead.
safely. But I do it safely.
Yeah, that's important because one is this privacy extension, which kind of guides you on your, what do we say, the privacy score on websites and how many trackers are blocked. That's one way of it. The other way usually is that rather than using a usual email, you use a private email or you create two different emails, one for your usual usage and the other one for logging into different devices and sharing it for subscriptions and on different websites. That's a technique some people use.
It's a good one. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of techniques. Like, so, if I'm starting from the base with somebody, I go, let's start with your password strategy first.
Mhm.
Um, you know, we know this, but like, make sure you're not doing it. Do not use the same password across all accounts. And even better, try to sign up for a password manager. They are worth it. The EFF, they do a great job listing recommended password managers. I cannot recommend getting a password
Mhm.
manager enough. And then make sure your like one master password is difficult enough that no one's gonna hack. That is a really, really easy way for you to take back privacy control. Because once one of those passwords gets hacked and you're using it across multiple accounts, you're in trouble. So yeah, like I really recommend starting with that. The other is your router, right? So when you get your router, I don't know if it's the same for you, but mine came with a pre-installed password that actually says it on the router on a sticker, and a very small percentage of people change that router password. Please make sure you change that password. Like that's just an easy thing that you can do today. Um, and then kind of moving down again, that list is just two-factor authentication. Just make sure it's on. And easy, the mobile, is this you? Yes, is better, is great. Depending on your level or depending on what device it is, an authenticator is also very, very helpful. And then this is where I thought was interesting too for what you're saying about emails, right? Um, I do think it's great to have like a couple of just like silly email addresses that you never check and just use those to sign up for lists. Like so good. Anytime you're setting up an account and they ask you to answer security questions, like what's the name of your first pet? These things can be hacked. These things can, like, if there's a data breach, what I like to do is I have a known fake answer for all of these things.
Yeah.
And
You're not
that
the
is,
only one. You're not the only one.
oh no,
Everyone,
of
I
course
believe
not.
most of us have it.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know, I kind of have fun with them too, with my fake answers.
Mhm.
So yeah, those are just kind of easy ways for setting up accounts. And again, and like what you said as well, a private encrypted email account is definitely worth its cost. And again, EFF, thinkprivacy.com, all great resources to find the right private solution for yourself.
I think you've been very humble in sharing the list. You missed out one thing, if I remember, when we spoke about 1 year ago, you were talking about what we call is private search. That's another element that we need to do. Of course, there's the incognito or the private in the browser, but even without going incognito, you can use a private search. There are many searches available, and I think, and if I remember well, Start Page also has one, isn't it?
Yes, yes. So, once you've got your passwords and all of your accounts like cleaned up or two-factor authentication, then we go into the phase of privacy where it's how do I really limit the digital footprint that is being collected on me? Because every single one of us has one. I just told you about how many trackers I've blocked on there. Like I am online a lot. There's a lot of information being collected on me, but how do I reduce that? So, search engine is such an easy way to reduce a significant amount of personal data being collected on you. Not only your location, but really your interests, your health issues, your financial issues. So, Start Page is a very easy to use search engine. Essentially, we have access to Google's search index, and through a three server solution, we pass your search query only, never your IP address, never any personal data. We pass it through to Google. They only see start page searching. And then back to you, the individual. You never have a search history. You never pass any location information. And you get access to all of the information, all of the search links that you'd ever find on Google. So that is just like one simple way to cut down on your digital footprint. And to that extension that we were discussing earlier, Start Page Privacy Protection. Um, Once you install that extension, Start Page is set as your default search. So it's really easy one stop solution to take back a lot of your control over your personal data. Um, Other ways to cut down on that digital
Maybe
footprint.
let's first summarize what we've discussed because I think we are understanding it, but some people are joining in, and then it's
Oh, great.
important for them to see what did we say. So we are saying so far, if you want to protect your privacy, there are browser extensions which are available. Especially we talked about the Start Page browser extension. You can use a star password manager to make sure you don't have to remember password, and you can create complicated passwords which you don't have to remember, but they protect your privacy. We recommend you change your router password or the router default Wi-Fi name. You also use a private email. That's what we recommend. But if not, at least create different emails for distribution versus usage. And don't use the usage emails everywhere to log in because that creates traceability and then you are being surveilled anywhere and everywhere. And we also say while you have the incognito or private browsing in your browser, there's an opportunity to use private search. Again, Start Page also provides one. So there are options, there are ways in which you can protect privacy. And I like to remind our viewers, if you have questions, you can always ask and we will do our best to
Please.
follow up and track. And that's why you see my hands are moving here and there because I'm trying to see if you're asking questions or not. And so continuing with that, so these are some of the basic things everyone can do and everyone can protect. And of course, from a larger perspective, as you linked it to the hierarchy of needs, there is a perspective that we expect the government or the state to pass the laws and protect us, but they will do their stuff. We still need to do our bit. Then we expect the
Exactly.
organizations who collect personal data to be accountable, to be responsible and transparent. And it goes without saying, we expect them to do the needful, even if there is no law, because we expect them to act from an ethical perspective. But we all know when it comes to business and financials versus ethics, which takes precedence usually. But that doesn't mean there are not ethical organizations. There are many who are setting the standards and uh, defining it. And we still continue to talk about the conversation around how do you protect privacy. So it was meant to summarize because I saw some of the people joined in between.
Oh, great. Wow, we've covered a lot already.
Yeah, I was looking at the time. We are already 20 minutes past, so we are doing well.
Excellent. One area that we haven't gotten super into is, how to set your settings in your browser and any type of social media and any type of apps that you use to more secure and private settings. Um, a lot of these are easy to do if you just take this Friday afternoon and just go through. If you're using Chrome, you can go to disable my Google activity page. And on there, you have the option to remove tracking of your location, remove tracking of your history for both Google and YouTube. And that right there cuts down on a large amount of your digital footprint. So that's just one easy thing you could do today. Also, going into your apps on your phone, the amount of uh, you know apps asking for your location is not necessary. And so just go in there and update those settings. Some are asking for access to your photos as well. Unless you absolutely need to be sharing your photos with a third party company, I would really make sure that you do not have that setting set on. And This can be done, and also if you have an app on your phone that you're not using, take it off. You don't need it. Because they are tracking you and they are selling that data elsewhere. So if you're not using it, get rid of it.
Yeah. So that's good. We covered a lot in very short span of time. So for everyone who's joined, we talked about the privacy perspective from an individual perspective. That is, how do you protect privacy from of your own from as an individual? And we have touched upon many things in case you missed it. And it was about browser extensions like the start page about browser extension, the password manager, the router change, that is on router change your password, enable security, use a private email, use private search. So settings which are available in each browser and also in apps or also on your phone to protect who, and maybe simple as do not track me. And then remove your history from time to time, remove unused apps. And as you do that, you'll have done the basics in the digital world to protect privacy. And with that, I must say, would you like to share one final message in essence of time, Kelly, for our audiences? Because it's Friday evening in Europe, Friday night in Asia, and almost the beginning of the day or the middle of the day in US. So people would like to probably get back to work, get back to dinner, or start their evening schedule or the weekend schedule.
Yes, I don't want to be in the way of anyone's weekend. So what I would like to end this with is we covered a lot of bases today, but protecting your privacy shouldn't feel cumbersome. Everything that I mentioned today is actually very straightforward and easy to do. Maybe schedule some time on your calendar every other week to do these practices and make sure that you're keeping up with your privacy hygiene, because it will pay off in the long run. And I promise you, if you use these simple tips, they're not easy or they're not hard to do, and it will make a big difference for you. So if you have any follow-up questions, please ask us. Our Twitter handle is at startpage. And if you'd like to email us directly on our private email servers, you can reach us at privacyplease@startpage.com.
So thank you so much, Kelly, for being with us. And the same here. Your privacy is your responsibility. We've given you some tips. We've shared some tips today. And but end of the day, the onus, the responsibility is as much on you as is on anyone else. The state will give you the laws, the organization will do their bit, but you have to do your bit as well. And it starts with you protecting your privacy. And if you want to follow us, www.fitforprivacy.com, or you can listen to us at our podcast, and this will also be published in the podcast. So with that, I would say thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day and have a great weekend ahead. Thank you.